Good evening. This is a public meeting of the Gardner Planning Board. First item of business is I will read the public meeting notice into the record. In accordance with Article 10 of the City of Gardner Zoning Code, Chapter 675-1010, Site Plan Review. Notice is hereby given that the Gardner Planning Board will conduct a public review meeting on Wednesday, November 9th, 2022 at 7 p.m. in the Hubbard Conference Room, 203 City Hall Annex, Pleasant Street, Gardner, Mass., to consider the definitive plan application submitted by the City of Gardner, 95 Pleasant Street, Gardner, Mass. The definitive plan depicts a new public park and parking lot located at 53 Park Street at the southern edge of Crystal Lake. When constructed, the project will feature a 48-vehicle gravel parking area with access to a public park. The application and site plan are available for viewing on the City of Gardner Planning Board website. The plans are also available for viewing in the Department of Community Development and Planning in room 201 of the City Hall Annex. All persons interested in this matter or who desire to offer testimony are invited to participate. Any preliminaries for us before we invite our presenter to the floor?
Sure. Just for the planning board's information, the city's been working on this project for at least a couple of years, utilizing block grant funds for design and a combination of block grant and city funds for construction. And the plan, like the chairman said, includes 48 parking spaces, which triggers site plan approval by the planning board, and that's why the project's in front of you tonight. And Matt Zorek is here from Ty and Bond to now present to the board and answer any questions you may have.
All right, sir, your name for the record, please?
Yep. Matt Zork with Ty and Bond.
Very good. Floor is yours.
All right. So this is the Park Street Park project. I'll go through the plan set here that we have. Let's start with this sheet that kind of gives you the general overview. So this is the project location here. It's an old National Grid substation. The Elks Lodge is to the east of it over here with the ice rink on this side, just out of view. This is Crystal Lake. We're in the southern portion of it. The Greenwood Pool on this side, and the cemetery is up more toward the north on this side. So this project is a gravel parking area and park area on the National Grid lot here. There's also a little portion on the Elks property on this corner, and then there'll be a 10-foot wide shared use path that goes across or next to the Crystal Lake that will connect to Lake Street, where there is a bike path down in this section. So this is the existing conditions. So again, this is the National Grid lot here. There's an existing fence that is surrounded by the property, or surrounds the property, which will be removed. We'll do some limited clearing along this section to the west of the site. We'll have a construction access road here, or entrance, and erosion controls on the lake. Currently, it's generally a gravelly lot. There's some vegetation there, but really just a gravelly kind of poor lawn area. And this is more of a gravel area in this corner. So this is our proposed site layout. We will have a driveway off of Park Street on the south side here. We'll have 48 spaces, 2 accessible spaces, and then we'll have a stone dust walk path along this side, which will connect to the shared use path. On this side, we can see we're showing some improvements along Park Street here. This is going to be a concurrent project going along with this, but there will be a future shared use path along the southern portion here to accommodate some pedestrian movements. There's some restrictions on this site. As part of the lease agreement, we cannot do any excavations on site, so everything will be at grade or above. So there's no proposed excavations at all, so that kind of limits some of the improvements we can do. But off-site on the Elks kind of corner over here, we will have some vegetation to screen the parking lot over here. We can't really plant anything on the property, so again, everything will be surfaced with picnic tables. We'll have some boulders, but then once we get off the property, we'll have some additional plantings along the side. In terms of grading, The site generally grades to the northwest currently. Again, because we can't really do much excavations or anything, we're trying to mimic that the best we can. So everything will be generally going towards the northwest corner. We will be installing about 6 to 8 inches of gravel in the parking lot area. There will be a fabric that goes down first, and then the gravel will be placed on top of that. The rest of the areas, again, this pass will be stone dust, but between everything will be lumen seed. This is just showing the existing condition of the shared use path. So Lake Street's right here. The park is kind of over in this corner. There's some rail ties that go along the lake, which will be removed. And this shows the new alignment of the path, which will go along the lake and continue to Crystal Lake Drive in the cemetery area over here. There will be a fencing. So we are proposing fencing along the edge of the lake here, also in the park. And this is just a profile showing the shared use path. Again, closely mimicking existing conditions. It's relatively flat next to the pool over there. Some details. I'm gonna try to zoom in here. So this is the gravel parking area. Again, we'll have a fabric that goes down on the existing ground, and we'll have a 6-inch minimum gravel up to probably 8 inches. Shared use path connection will be a paved surface. Erosion control details, construction entrance details, fencing, and we did add some pet waste stations on the plan, and we also added some signage along the fencing to notify the public drinking water supply. There's some details on the shared use path. So it will be 10-foot wide, 2-foot shoulders, and along the lake there will be a 3-rail wood fence that goes along the side. There's a detail of the wood fence. And that is it. So are there any questions?
Can you orient me to where the old railroad tracks are?
Yeah, so they go kind of through this section here. They're kind of these light lines you can see.
Okay.
So these will be removed, so
Right.
as part of this project.
And about lighting, you didn't mention anything about lighting, just no.
So there's no lighting because we can't do any utilities and no excavations, so everything will just, there won't be any lighting on site.
Okay.
Who currently owns the property?
It's currently owned by National Grid and it will be leased by the city, I think for a 99-year lease.
The, the park area will be leased to the city, the parking lot will be licensed. We already have draft documents with National Grid. We're having a conversation, but we had to wait for the final plans in order to incorporate all the most up-to-date information to reference.
Has any coordination or communications been done to the Elks?
Yes, yeah, we're in current discussions with them.
And they're in agreement,
We're in discussions with them.
discussion?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have been for a long time. Rob mentioned, Matt mentioned the multi-use path along the sidewalk in front of the site. That's gonna go all the way up to the pool building. Originally, we were proposing to put it out behind the Elks along the water, but they were not agreeable to that, so
Oh,
our next option was to put it out in front, so that's what we're gonna do. And then, while I'm on it, I might also just say that this project, if approved, will be going out to bid most likely over the winter with that other project, the multi-use trail, all the way up to the Veterans Memorial Rink Access Drive, and a third project, improvements around Monument Park, including new sidewalks, Victorian lighting, new crossings where they're needed, and zigzag crossings like we're doing downtown elsewhere. You have the Ale House, and that's again all funded with block grant money and city funds. already been appropriated.
Now, in the area where you're going to be, that you intend for parking, and you're going to be raising it, but I believe you said 6 inches. Could you speak to drainage?
Yeah, so drainage will, even though we are gonna have to raise this, we are still going to match the existing contours, in terms of the way things drain. So you can see the existing contours are these light dashed lines. Everything kind of generally goes this way. So we are going to be modifying this corner over here slightly on the Elks property, but we will be getting the positive drainage to kind of mimic those existing conditions to go the same direction. And then we'll be improving, this will be a nice lawn area, so it'll be a vegetative, filter strip before anything goes towards the lake.
And nothing's being paved, so everything's pervious.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Gentlemen on the board, anything else?
That
Mr.
one,
Stoops?
that one section on the front, that is the Elks property now, is that correct? Right in the
Correct.
corner?
This line here is Elks property.
Anything else, gentlemen?
I'm all set.
All right, we thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
I'm gonna break this.
All right, now, as this is a public meeting, I would ask at this point if there's anyone here from the public who would wish to be heard in favor of this project? Is there anyone here from the public who wishes to be heard in favor of this project? Is there anyone here from the public who wishes to be heard in favor of this project? Hearing none, is there anyone here from the public who wishes to be heard in opposition to this project? Is there anyone here from the public who wishes to be heard in opposition to this project? Is there anyone here from the public that wishes to be heard in opposition to this project? Hearing none, public meeting is closed. Planning board meeting kicks off at 7:20, so I declare us in recess until that time. And this is the regular meeting of the Gardner Planning Board that I'll convene at this time. First item of business is the approval of minutes from our October 11th, 2022 meeting.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes as provided from the October 11th meeting.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to accept the meetings from October 11th, the meeting minutes from October 11th. Any discussion? By voice vote, please. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. New business, definitive plan for the Park Street Park and parking lot. Do we have any discussion on that, gentlemen?
It's really going to enhance the area, saying that substation has been gone for so long. It'll provide a good access for the trail to go in the north and to connect onto the other trail to go east. So I think it's a good idea. We'll brighten up the property, make it more functional.
I agree.
It's a good idea.
I read the whole package and the whole thing in detail, and I couldn't find anything to quibble with them. Since
No.
everything's, all the ducks are in a row. So in that case, I would entertain a motion.
Move to adopt the project, the Park Street project.
To approve the definitive plan for the
Yeah,
Park Street
definitive
Park and
plan.
parking lot? Okay,
Park
motion
Street
made.
Park.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Very well. By the roll, Mr. Schwartz,
Yes,
Mr. Patez,
Yes.
Mr. Cormier,
Yes.
Mr. Cormier.
Yes.
And I also vote in the affirmative. Motion carries. Old business, private oversight LLC, the zoning code amendment. Now, we've been through the process of, we have heard the petitioner's proposal. We all voted in the affirmative, so off to the city council it goes for the joint hearing. They've heard the proposal, now it's back to us again for a final vote. We do have one little thing that actually Mr. Beauregard pointed out to me. You take a look at your pretty colored maps here.
The last page.
Last page. We got a little sliver there that would still be COM2. You'll see it with the black X. It might be a good idea to recommend that that also go to RR2, just for the sake of consistency. You would have RR2, which you see now in the beige there on the left, to the left of the PA's border. The proposed change is in red. And then where the X is, you have that little sliver of COM2 with no frontage.
It's part of the same large lot that the PACC owns.
Which is RR2 itself.
Attorney Tree actually pointed out at our original meeting on October 11th and at the public hearing also.
Yeah,
I think it makes sense to recommend that we add that to the amendment and change it from commercial 2 to rural residential 2. So their entire lot is consistent.
I think it's all woods now.
It is.
Yeah, it is. With no frontage, that
Yeah,
little corner there.
yeah,
Buried.
absolutely. Why don't we change it? I recommend that, I would suggest that.
Is there anything that, as far as getting back to the property owners, that we, that particular, there was issue of them talking to the PACC? Is there any need for that, I guess?
No, there's no need for it. It's up to the city. So,
Undeveloped landlocked lot.
yeah, it can't be developed commercially anyways.
Nothing further?
What was the question?
So where we're at now is, if the board so desires, we would vote tonight to return this to the city council recommending that they approve it. And then it's up to them, what they do. So if anyone cares to make a motion, I would entertain.
Don't you have to make a comment about that with the X?
With the, yes, thank you, thank you.
With that recommended amendment
Recommended amendment of that,
of the
I don't know
amendment.
how we'd word it.
I'll move the
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 little
adoption.
square of COM
with the
2.
little square.
All right, motion made?
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. Any further
Makes sense.
discussion?
Makes sense, we need to do that.
So the motion is to recommend adoption of
Adoption
the
Suggested
amendment
zoning code.
by the petitioner along with the amendment
yes,
for the PACC lot.
yes, that's what I would have said.
Yeah, to include that.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion before we vote? Very well, by the roll, Mr. Schwartz,
Yes,
Mr. Betez.
Yes.
Mr. Paul Cormier.
Yes.
The other Mr. Cormier.
Yes.
I also vote in the affirmative. Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
If I may, just for the record, we did have 2 planning board members absent at our October 11th meeting, and they've both reviewed all the information and either watched the recording or listened to the recording of the meeting, and they attested to that on the forum through the Mullen Rule, and also, and that was Mr. Betez and Mr. Schwartz.
I've already read the documents that
Yeah.
were provided.
And member Paul Cormier was not at the public hearing, he's also done the same. And so they were able to vote tonight on the amendment, or on the recommendation.
Very good. Noted in the record. Any further business? Next meeting, Tuesday, December 13th. You all good with that so far?
All right. Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion made
Second.
and seconded.
When did
Motion
you
made.
guys get out of here last month?
We sat here for almost a week. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Look forward to seeing